welcome to Lovin' Life's Journey DIY. I'm Chantel, and I am so glad you're here. I have not been doing a whole lot of DIYing lately because I have been getting ready for a couple of upcoming trips. I've been putting away all of my Christmas decor, which is a huge project, and I have also been doing some organizing around my house and trying to purge and make things a little more neat and tidy. So if you're interested in seeing some organization videos, be sure to leave me a comment below. But today I do have a couple of DIY projects for you. These could be Valentine DIYs, but they could also be for just generic decorating. They're not really specific to Valentine's. I'm calling them subtle Valentine DIYs because they're not in the traditional reds and pinks. And like I said, they could be left out all year long. So let's jump in and get started.
For this project, I will be using this sign from Dollar Tree. This is a pretty standard size that they carry all the time. It's about 9¼ inches wide and about 13½ inches tall, and you can find it usually during any time at Dollar Tree. And this one I actually got after summer for just 50 cents. I will also be using 1 pack of these wooden rulers and 1 package of these little wood heart ornaments and some jute twine. All of these are from Dollar Tree. Instead of the traditional red or pink for Valentine's, I am going to use this blue color. This is called Cascade. It's by Folk Art. And I picked it up, I think, at Hobby Lobby or Walmart. And then I'm also going to be using some ivory colored chalk paint, as well as some Waverly Antique Wax. I'm going to start by removing the hanger off of the sign as well as the label, and then I am going to use a little sandpaper just to go over where that label was to remove any of the adhesive that might be left. And then I'm going to give my sign a couple coats of that Cascade blue paint. While my first coat of paint is drying, I'm going to take my wooden rulers. I'm going to remove the little plastic stickers that have the measurements on them. They just peel right off. And then I'm going to sand the rulers down a little bit to remove the adhesive off of those. Then I'm going to measure how long I want my rulers to be. They're going to be the same width as my sign. So I'll mark those, and then I'm going to use my miter box and saw to cut those down. And I know I've said it many times before, but this is one of my favorite crafting tools. It's easy to get out just to make simple cuts like this. I will have it linked below in my favorite crafting tools. And I did sand off the edges where I cut the rulers just to get rid of any splinters. And then I'm going to give these a couple coats of paint as well. Next, I am marking the center point on the top and the bottom of my sign, and I'm going to draw a line vertically down the center of my sign. And I'm just using a pencil, and then I am going to kind of smear the pencil using a paper towel to kind of just spread that line out a little bit. And this is to make it look like I have 2 separate boards. Next, I'm going to add some dry brushing to my sign. I'm using the Waverly Antique Wax. You can use just a dark brown or a black paint. Just get a very little bit on a dry brush and lightly brush this across your project until It's as dark as you want. And you can see I'm going over that center line a little darker because I want that to look kind of like the shadow of the seam where the two pieces of wood would come together if you had two separate pieces of wood. And then I'll also dry brush on my two smaller ruler pieces as well. Now I want to mark where I want to put the rulers on my sign. So I just kind of laying them on there, and I decided to mark 2 inches up from the bottom and 2 inches down from the top. And that's where I'm going to place my rulers. And I'm just going to attach them with some hot glue. I always like to use Gorilla Glue sticks in my hot glue guns just because they hold a little bit stronger than just the regular glue sticks. I pick up my Gorilla Glue sticks at Walmart. They do cost a little bit more than your regular glue sticks, but I think it's worth it if your projects stay together better. Next, I'm going to take 3 of the wooden heart-shaped ornaments, and I am going to stack them because these are pretty thin and I want it to have a little bit of thickness to it. So I'm just going to stack them together with a little bit of hot glue to hold them. Then I'm going to paint one side of my heart using that ivory colored chalk paint. And I am also going to paint around the outside edge of my heart a little bit. And I'm not going to worry about the cutout sections in the center of the heart. I'm just going to leave those. And then I'll give the heart a little bit of dry brushing as well. I decided I wanted to add a little embellishment to my heart, so I'm going to use one of the little jute hangers that came in the packet of ornaments. And I had this little skeleton key. It's just a decorative little key that I had in my stash. And I'm going to tie that on using the jute twine and just the little hole that's already in the heart to hang it. Before I attach my heart, I want to put a finished looking back on this sign. So I am going to use just some of the brown craft paper that I picked up at Dollar Tree. And I'm going to cut out a piece that's the same size of the sign, and I'm going to glue it on the back just to give it a nice finished look. And because the craft paper wanted to curl up and was a little hard to work with, I decided to use my hot glue gun just to secure the top corners. And then I used a glue stick to glue the rest of the paper. I just felt like this made it a little bit smoother than trying to glue it with only the hot glue gun. Then I'm going to wrap some jute twine around my sign where I had attached the wooden rulers, and I'm going to wrap it about 3 times and then secure it with some hot glue. Now it's time to attach that heart right in the center of my sign with a little bit of hot glue. And then I'm going to add a jute twine hanger back onto this sign. I didn't use the one that it came with because I wanted it to be a little bit longer. And that's all there is to this fun farmhouse Valentine sign that could certainly be displayed all year long. For this next project, I will be using 2 packages of these mirrored wall stickers, as well as a couple of these little unfinished wood palettes. Both of these I picked up at Dollar Tree. And to paint my project, I'm going to be using this Kills brand white chalk paint that I picked up at Walmart. The first thing I'm going to do is glue my two little palettes together. I'm going to glue them end to end so that I have one longer palette. And I am using the Super Glue wood glue from Dollar Tree, as well as just a little bit of hot glue to help hold it together while that wood glue dries. Next, I'm going to take my wall stickers and I'm going to peel them off of the paper and I'm going to stick them on the cardboard that was in the package that they came in because the stickers are pretty thin and so I want to give them a little bit of a thicker backing to make them more sturdy. And once I have those stuck on the cardboard, I am going to use an X-Acto knife to cut out my little houses. And you will want to make sure that your blade is nice and sharp. That way you'll get a nice crisp cut and it will just be easier to do. And I did also cut out the little windows and shapes inside of the houses as well. Once I have those cut out, I'm going to use a piece of sandpaper just to get off any of the little rough edges of cardboard and make the sides nice and smooth. The little mirrored stickers do come with a protective film over the top of them, and because I am going to be spray painting these, I don't want to leave that on because it might peel off and then my paint would peel off. So I'm going to remove all of the protective film from these houses as well. Once I remove that film, the surface is really slick and shiny, and so to get my spray paint to stick to it, I am going to take my sandpaper and I am going to sand all of my shapes to rough them up. Then I'm going to take all of my houses and my palette piece and give them a couple of coats of the spray paint both on the front and the back side. Once my paint was all dry, I did notice I had a few places that were still a little bit rough on the edges where the cardboard didn't cut real clean. And again, I think that's just because I didn't have a sharp enough blade in my X-Acto knife. So I'm just using some scissors to clean them up a little bit. And now I can assemble this, and honestly, I had originally planned to glue the houses to the little palette, but then I got to playing around with it, and I actually really like the fact that I could move these around. So I can just put these down in the slots of the palette and move them around, and they sit up on their own really well. And so it's really fun this way because it makes it very versatile and it makes it really easy to store, because if I had glued these on, it would be really difficult to store this if I wanted to pack it away. But this way I can just pull the little houses out and it will store flat, and I love how I can switch this all around. So let me show you a couple of ways that I styled this just to give you a few ideas, but really the possibilities are endless. The first way I styled this was to just add some greenery to the front of it in front of the houses, and I thought this just added just a little bit of color. It makes it real farmhouse looking, and if you don't like the stark white, you could definitely dry brush this. My husband thought I should dry brush it, but I kind of like it the way it is, all white. So really it's just whatever your preference is. I also thought this would be very fun and easy to switch up for holidays, and so here I have added a couple of little heart clips that I got at Dollar Tree to a couple of the chimneys on the houses. It makes it like little heart-shaped smoke coming out of the chimneys. And then I just added these little fairy lights that I also got at Dollar Tree. They're a pink wire with little red lights. So just some subtle decor to go with the holiday. And since you can take the houses out and move them around, here I have put houses on both ends, and then I've put a candle and some Christmas greenery in the center, and I really love how this looks too. It's just so versatile and it was so fun to make. So I hope you enjoyed these two subtle Valentine's projects that could be used all year long. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, I'd love to have you stick around. So hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a blessed day.